I have partnered with Iron Boots in organizing a GMTO in 3 different rare shell colors. All shell is from Maryam Tannery. We're doing brown shell, we're doing Grigio shell, we're doing Ruggine shell. We're doing the service boot in brown shell on the 5515 last. We're doing the Devil Dog in Ruggine shell Cordovan, which is a very ruby red striking color. Similar to garnet shell, but not exact. We are doing the Chosen One in Grigio shell Cordovan, a beautifully metallic, amazing grail gray service boot. This video was recorded when I only had the brown and the Grigio, but then a miracle happened. The Devil Dogs arrived as well. Apologies for the confusion there. Most of the video you won't see these in front of me. However, I will be taking detailed shots of the Devil Dogs and showing how they age, because these appear to be worn maybe 5 times and the age on them is just tremendous. So we'll get a good look at the really deep creases and what happens when they scuff up a little bit. Really just capture the elegance of the last. This is a very big step for me and my channel, and it's a lot of fun. I got to pick a few different colors of shell Cordovan and a few different models to run, and I'm going to be running you guys through those right now. Kai, who is the owner of Iron Boots in Guangzhou, China, he actually doesn't always like to work with shell. After some convincing, he agreed to let us do a GMTO. Let me talk over the 3 different models that we're going to be running. So the first pair, you might recognize these. I actually reviewed this very pair. I'll leave the link to that video in the description below, because I went full-on nerd mode. I talked all about these boots, the last and everything. Lots of detail here. I'm very excited to be announcing this as a GMTO, because this is what I considered a grail boot then, and I still consider it a grail boot now. So this pair is in brown shell Cordovan from Maryam, and it's on the 5515 last. It's based on the Munson last. It's got almost a squared off toe here. Very distinct look, and it's very forgiving in the forefoot, but at the same time a nice tapered out waist. Beautiful, beautiful silhouette. Once again, this is going to be in Maryam's brown shell Cordovan. That's a rare shell color. You can't get these just anywhere. We're going to be running this exact same model. So yeah, it's going to be on this black Super Grip Dr. Sole outsole. Absolutely beautiful. One really distinctive thing about Iron Boots, and they always do set themselves apart truly, they use wool as a filler instead of cork. They use a leather shank instead of steel. And they use leather as a stiffener for both the toe and the heel. And what's cool about that is it creates, these boots are very lightweight in comparison to their counterparts. Much less metal involved in these boots. Now, they're still hefty, don't get me wrong. They're a lot lighter weight, a lot easier to walk in while still offering that service boot support. So that's really good. Next up, this is a fun one. So these are the Maryam Grigio shell Cordovan service boots. Once again, all the shell we're running is going to be Maryam shell. I think Iron Boots has a good relationship with Maryam, and they're able to secure these rare shell colors. So yes, once again, this is going to be in Grigio. This model is called the Chosen One. That's just the name of this model. It's also the name of the last. The Chosen One last is quite substantially different from the 5515 last, as you can see here. Most of the differences that I can see are going to be more in the toe. It's going to be the Chosen One with this exact makeup that you see here. Black Dr. Sole Super Grip outsole, this beautiful perforated cap toe, nickel eyelets, 3 speed hooks all the way up. These eyelets are extremely heavy duty. No way you could cinch those down. We've got a really nice dogger style heel back here. Pull tab, metallic, cool as hell. Double stitch down construction. They are all 100% hand welted or hand stitched down with channeled insole construction, creating a stronger and longer lasting than normal Goodyear welted shoes or boots that are made by machines. Each pair is 100% welted, hand lasted, hand bottomed, and hand sewn for the outsole stitch. And for the 5515s, we're going to have polished brass hardware all the way up with 3 speed hooks as well. Pretty similar builds. Both of these builds have a roll top at the throat. Absolutely killer. And the third and final, we're doing the Devil Dog in Ruggine shell Cordovan. Basically, the Devil Dog is the name of the model, and it's built on the Devil Dog last, which looks kind of similar to the Viberg 2030 last in that it's got an almond-shaped toe, much more almond than the Chosen Ones. The Chosen Ones is very much like perfectly rounded out. The Devil Dog is going to be a little bit more tapered in that toe, but also it seems to have a more aggressive slope, downward slope towards the toe, as compared to 5515. You can see it's got a pretty well structured toe. It's sort of got a little bit of a bump going on, whereas the Chosen One and the Devil Dog have sort of more of a slope downward, a little bit more of a dressier look. This is such an elegant last. Now that I have them in front of me, they're beautiful from literally every single angle. Really striking. This is a really complex last. Like, so's the 5515. The Chosen One's a little bit more straightforward of a service boot last, but yeah, this Devil Dog last is really sharp, really refined, really elegant, really ergonomic. These Devil Dogs, the last on these, it's kind of difficult to tell because of the different patterning here. So here we've got a standard service boot with a perforated cap toe. These are my iron boots, the FLT model. These are in a size 9E, and the fit is really good. The length might be long by a half size, but it's a very narrow last. Yeah, looking at the bottom, it looks like the same shape. It's kind of difficult to tell because of the different patterning here. So here we have a Norwegian split toe, mock toe type of a model, whereas here we have a traditional service boot with a perforated cap toe. But when you look at the soles, you basically see the last is basically the same shape. Very, very beautiful last here. For this last, I would say you could go true to size. Once again, I'm a 9 Brannick. I wear 8.5 in most US boot brands, and these are just a little long on me, but honestly, the shape of the last and the contours, it feels like a perfect fit on my foot, so I don't want to muddy the waters too much when it comes to sizing. Your standard half down is gonna work, but to compare this to, say, an Alden Indy, this is the Alden Indy in 8.5D. I realize my Alden size should probably be 8E. There's the 9E on the FLT last, which is basically the Devil Dog last. You can see the last on the True Balance is very wide, whereas the Devil Dog last slash FLT last, which I believe is the same thing, is going to be a lot more narrow. But yeah, the 9Es to the 8.5Ds, they look, to me, identical in length there. So maybe go up a half size from your Alden Indy size for this last. In my previous videos, I've compared the elegance of the iron boots lasts to bespoke makers like Gaziano Gerling, Edward Green, makers like that. Very, very refined looks. Those 3 colors, Grigio shell, brown shell, and Ruggine shell. To give you a good example of what Ruggine might look like, it's going to be a brown, but it's going to have a lot of reds in it. So these are my Truman boots in Ruggine horse rump. And as you can see, it's got a lot of red tonality going on. So the Ruggine shell is going to have a lot of that fiery red glow going on, but it's going to be even more brilliant because it's going to be a shell Cordovan as opposed to a standard horse rump. A standard horse rump is going to be very much like a standard bovine leather. To give you an idea of that, here I have Grigio horse rump, and you can compare the Grigio horse rump to the Grigio shell Cordovan. Both are from the Maryam tannery, and as you can see, the shell Cordovan just has that vibrant, deep, rich color that they're able to achieve in shell. It's much deeper and it's much more striking in a shell as compared to a horse rump. The shell, it just has tighter fibers, it just has glossier characteristics and properties, and it's just that much more electrifying and vibrant to look at. Yeah, once again, look at that. 2 Grigios. All Grigios are not created equal, that's for sure. I think the main takeaway with comparing the shell Cordovan to the horse rump counterparts, once again, the Grigio shell to the Grigio horse rump, the Ruggine shell to the Ruggine horse rump, and the brown shell to probably its closest counterpart would be the Tuscanello horse rump. I think it's clear in every case the shell Cordovan is so much richer, so much more vibrant. It holds a pigment better, it seems. The horse rump seems to fade over time, whereas the shell retains its luster so much better. Its depth. It ages completely different, and I love both, don't get me wrong, but I'm just really amazed. The shell really, truly is the gold standard of leather, and this is why. The tightness of the grain, the very extremely high fiber density of shell Cordovan outmatches its horse rump counterparts. Its ability to hold a pigment and to hold a shine, and its ability to just age beautifully. As you can see, these Ruggines haven't been worn very hard, but they are aging beautifully. The brown shell, it looks the same as when I initially reviewed them, just a little bit better because they've been worn. They do truly, it truly gets better with age. The shell sort of just takes care of itself. There's not much you have to do to really maintain it. It just is a miracle material, and it's worth every penny. As far as sizing goes, this is one thing that's probably the most crucial portion to cover. In general, sizing is easy. Go down your half size. Take your standard Red Wing size, take your standard Truman size. I've reviewed these boots before. These are in a 9E and they fit me really well. I'm a 9 Brannick. I wear 8.5 in most US boot brands, 8.5D that is. These are in a 9E. Now this is a very slender last. So for that reason, I would recommend, you know, for this particular last, maybe going true to size. But for these lasts, these are all three lasts used here are going to be your standard half size down. Make it easy. So take your Parkhurst size. You know, I tried these on. These are an 8.5E. The fit is perfect. I could even go down to a D width, I think. So that's a very generous Munson style last. And then this one as well. So just take your standard Red Wing size, standard Parkhurst size, standard Truman size. You'll be good to go. Standard US boot size. Easy. Don't second guess it. Here's how the pre-order is going to work. We're going to set it up. It's going to run from, I think, early November up until the beginning of the new year, 2024. So it's going to give guys time. It's going to give us all time to prep financially, to mull over the idea. This isn't a big rush, right? These three boots are going to be available on the Iron Boots website. I will leave a link to that in the description below. Click it, it'll take you right there. We're looking at the price. It's going to be about $1,200 to $1,300 per pair. The way it's going to work is once we close the pre-order, we'll know how much shell Cordovan that we need to order from Maryam. Once we put in the order with Maryam, that could take about 2 months. And then once Iron Boots gets the shell, they can start building it. So we're looking at probably a 4, 5, maybe 6 month turnaround. Be patient. You know, these are handmade boots and shoes, and in a very rare, very special color. And there's a lot of moving parts to these group made to orders. I'm excited to be coordinating it and announcing it on my channel. If we reach over 20 pairs in this GMTO, we could actually bring the price down to closer to $1,200. And I worked it out with Cheng. What I think is fair and most reasonable is to do a half down and the remainder on completion, sort of a thing. And so initially it'll be $600 down to let them know that you're serious about placing the order. And then depending on how well the pre-order goes, your final price might be lower than what you think. We're looking at $1,300 a pair, but it might actually be closer to $1,200 a pair. It just all depends on how much shell they can order, because they could get discounts if they buy the shell in bulk. Go into it expecting $1,300 a pair, but if it goes well enough, we might get a good deal going on. The deposits are non-refundable, obviously. You guys know that. If you're following my channel, you know how this stuff goes. This stuff is it's very rare, it's very exclusive, very hard to get your hands on rare shell like this. But yes, I'm very excited. What do you think about the three builds? Which one of the three are you the most excited about? I'm obviously ecstatic for all three, but between the brown, the Grigio, and the Ruggine, they're all just so stunning. The Ruggine is also going to be on a black Dr. Soul outsole, though I'm sure that if you ask them, you can change the color, because they also have olive, and I believe they also have cream colored Dr. Sol Super Grip outsoles. I'm sure it wouldn't be that big of a deal to swap out one of those colors, or swap out and customize your hardware. That's something that you could probably coordinate with the guys at Iron Boots. And a few updates on the lasts. So all of these lasts have changed a little bit. Visually, there won't be too big of a difference. The Devil Dog will be a little bit more rounded out in the toe compared to what's seen in the video. There will be a slight pattern change on the 5515. It will be a single row stitch versus a double row, and that's simply because when we're working with shell, it's not ideal to have too many stitches over the shell, especially where you're pulling and stretching. This is just to reduce the stress on the leather and to reduce the risk when working with shell. Again, Iron Boots has not always been so keen on working with shell for this reason, so we're very lucky that they're doing this. Orders will be opening as of today and will close on January 7th, so you have plenty of time to plan and prepare and to strategize. Which of the three would you like, or are you gonna do all three? I'm probably jumping on all three myself, because this is such a rare opportunity. These are really special leathers, and this is a really special GMTO. I'm super grateful to the guys at Iron Boots, Kai, Cheng. Those guys are the best. It's a small shop in China. They're willing to do this for us. Super huge thanks to those guys. I am really, really pumped on this GMTO, and I hope you guys are too. That's it. These three amazing boots, all three are grails. This is a very rare opportunity. We're hoping to keep it at about 20 pairs. I don't think that we can exceed 50 pairs. So that's the sort of capacity we're dealing with. I'm trying to be as transparent as humanly possible here, and just let you guys know realistically what we're looking at. 20 to 50 is perfectly reasonable. Iron Boots is a small shop in Guangzhou, China. They're very nice people, and I got to meet Cheng actually at the Stitch Down boot camp. He's a very nice guy. I enjoy talking to him always, and I hope to see him again next year at the boot camp as well. You guys leave me your thoughts on these makeups, and please jump on this GMTO. It's a very exciting opportunity. I can't wait to see who ends up getting what. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'm Dale of Dale's Leatherworks. Let's keep the love of Shell Cordovan alive. I will see y'all in my next video.